Every audience wants to feel a certain way when a speaker walks on stage and after the applause fades. And if you're a speaker who can sense and activate and deliver on those desired emotions and that mindset throughout your talk, you will make a greater impact and income with your audience. That's called having platform intelligence. In today's video, I'm going to share with you what platform intelligence is, what it isn't, the responsibility of using platform intelligence the right way, and how you can implement this insight for a more meaningful approach as a public speaker. Hi, I'm Jon Cook. I'm the founder of Keynote Content. Over the past 10 years, I've personally worked with close to 1,000 speakers across 40 plus industries. And I'm best known for helping coaches, consultants, and advisors to stand out as experts in their industry, to craft a more powerful, profitable way of talking about what you do, and then amplifying that message to a larger audience. Now, you're likely familiar with the concept of emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman wrote a tremendous book by the same title, Emotional Intelligence, in which he defines it as the capacity for recognizing our own feelings and those of others, for motivating ourselves and for managing emotions well in ourselves and in our relationships. We as humans, we are innately emotional, but more importantly, we can sense or perceive the emotional state of another human being and those around us and decipher those expressions through those perceived emotions based on different markers or different signs, such as body language or facial expressions or tone of voice or a variety of other different types. So you take that concept and you magnify it to a macro level from the stage as a public speaker. Your audience is this largely cohesive organism, and audiences can take on this collective emotional state depending on their experience inside the room. More specifically, the experience from the stage to the seats. You've seen angry crowds, you've seen sad crowds, confused crowds, crowds that are restless or stressed, and others that are maybe elated or rambunctious, or maybe even silly crowds. These are sometimes found in conferences and workshops worldwide. Silly crowds, even for just a short period of time. But the secret that I don't see enough speakers talk about is that you as a speaker can perceive that emotion well before you step on stage. Of course, there are obvious instances where maybe you might have an effervescent crowd and they're obviously ready and they're hyped up and they're ready to do something fun and exciting. Or you could have a noticeably angry crowd that's just agitated before you even walk on stage. But the reality is that every audience has a collective emotion. No matter the size of the audience, from only a few people to an entire stadium's worth of people, every crowd is collectively feeling a certain way. So how do you, as a speaker, get an accurate picture of what that emotion is within seconds of stepping on stage or even before you step on stage? And how do you transition or reinforce that emotion with a powerful message that brings them to that desired emotion and serves your audience well every step of the way? And that's where platform intelligence enters the conversation. So what is this? I define platform intelligence as the ability of a public speaker to perceive, confirm, and articulate the collective emotion of an audience, and then ethically leverage that insight to reinforce or substitute a better, more desired emotion for that perceived emotion for the sole purpose of serving their audience well. If we're to break this definition down to some more tangible terms, what is platform intelligence and what is not platform intelligence? Well, having platform intelligence as a speaker means that you can sense, whether through intuition or perceivable signs, such as maybe the body language of your audience members or the movement of different people throughout the auditorium or their audience. If there are several pockets of people with kind of the crossed arms, the set jaws, the furrowed brows, you can likely guess they're upset about something. Maybe something happened at registration, or maybe they're upset at the meeting planner, or something about the organizer, or something that the previous speaker said. But let's say you have rows of people who are all smiling, they're all laughing. It's a crowd that's already jovial, they're likely looking for inspiration. Well, how about a third example? Let's say you have a steady stream of people who are just gathering their belongings, they're heading for the door. You can likely assume that they're not satisfied with what they've seen or what they've heard so far. Maybe I call it the flow to the foyer, and maybe it tells me that they believe that what's outside the auditorium is more important to them than what's inside the auditorium. And platform intelligence is having the insight to pick up on these cues, on these signs, to know what you're seeing, and then in a tactful way speak to that perceived emotion or that response during your talk. So that's one part of platform intelligence. But it's also about having the wisdom to understand that you're awakening emotions, or you're likely to awaken certain emotions in your audience that you need to address in a way that best serves their emotional interests moving forward. So that covers what platform intelligence is, but what isn't platform intelligence? Any form of manipulation is not platform intelligence. There's simply no room, no space for manipulation with an audience who trusts what you're about to say. We are responsible as speakers for the emotions we try to impress on our audiences, whether good or bad. And platform intelligence is it's also not being able to deliver a great talk. No matter the setting, no matter the industry, your ability to communicate has little to no correlation between your ability to perceive your audience's emotional or mental state. You can be a great speaker, but if you still miss the moment, if you still miss the cue, and you're not aware of your audience's exact emotions, that's a missed opportunity. I've seen decent speakers who maybe weren't as polished or maybe as powerful on stage as the ones right before them. I've seen these decent speakers absolutely crush it as a speaker for one simple reason. They identified what their audience was feeling. They understood what their audience wanted to feel, and they used their expertise to create this bridge to that desired emotional state for their audience, and all with the intent of serving their audience well. And the good news is that you can get a good pulse on what your audience is feeling and what they want to feel even before you step on stage. So how do we do that? Well, during your pre-event prep, in the days or maybe even weeks leading up to the event, I recommend asking the event planner these 5 questions. Number 1, where is your crowd focusing the most attention in their day-to-day lives or their businesses right now? Question 2, what does your audience deeply care about right now? Question 3, what is consuming your crowd's thoughts and energy as we head into this event? Question 4, what is the one feeling that you believe your audience wants to experience with this event? Then question 5, what would cause your audience to erupt in celebration right now? Those are the 5 questions, and the answer to those 5 questions, it telegraphs 2 different truths. It telegraphs how well the event planner actually understands your audience, and it also telegraphs the patterns of the emotions or the mindset that your collective audience is bringing into the actual event. That information is a gold mine of opportunity, but it puts you, as the speaker, puts you at a crossroads. How will you use what you believe to be true about your audience? How will you use that in preparation for your audience? And Dr. Dacher Keltner, he's the founding director of the Greater Good Science Center, and he's a professor of psychology at UC Berkeley. And he says about influence that the lasting difference that we make in the world is ultimately only as good as what others think of us. So having this enduring power of influence, it's a privilege that depends on other people continuing to give it to us. It is a profound responsibility to speak in front of an audience. And this responsibility, it isn't simply in what we say, but how we say it, how we imply this greater belief and support of what we say in the inferences that we allow our audiences to draw upon based on the given context. Now, let me be clear. Every single person in your audience will perceive what you say through their own lens of bias, and that's part of human nature. And it's not our job or our place as speakers to tell someone what to believe, but we can frame our stage content with intentional guardrails. So that leads us to, how do we leverage platform intelligence to create the bridge for our audiences to move from their current emotional state to that desired emotional state? What is your audience demonstrating emotion-wise to you right now? What are you kind of picking up from them? And based on what you know about your audience, about your perception of their core problem, you can bring them to that desired state. What do you want your audience to experience during and after your talk? What are they feeling now? What do they want to feel? And how do you help them experience that desired state through your talk content and maybe even through your coaching or consulting or advisory services? So what you can do is you can call out their current state of emotion with phrases like, I can tell you're upset, or I can see it on your faces that you're excited for the future, that you're excited about what we're talking about. Or you can say, I know there's a lot of uncertainty with where we're going as an industry. It's written all over this room. I heard it in the hallways between sessions. I've seen it on your discussion boards. I know that this is where we're at in the moment. So you can do that, but only do this if you're confident in what you're calling out. There's a bit of a risk, but the payoff can be massive if you use discernment. So when you start seeing the nodding heads and people are leaning in when you talk, or you see like the nostrils are flaring and they're relaxed breathing, that's your green light to then either reinforce that emotion if it's a good emotion, or contrast that by pointing your audience towards a better, more fulfilling emotion in future. So let's say that your audience is feeling uncertain about AI disruption in their industry. You can say, I see that you're uncertain. There's so much disruption in our industry right now, and there's amazing capabilities when it comes to AI. But what if I could show you where you can have absolute certainty to know where to invest your energy and focus, even in the face of all this change and all this disruption? What would that do for your confidence? What would that do for your sense of well-being with how you approach your work every single day? So what we're doing in that context is that we're defining the current reality. It's uncertain, it's confusing, it's maybe even fearful. It's letting them know it's natural to feel that way right now. But then what if I can show you a better future? And what you do is you start verbally painting this new mental image for your audience. And that's when your talk can gain serious traction, because your audience, They will feel seen and appreciated and served well. And that's what platform intelligence is all about. It's creating this human-to-human connection. Just you listening to me being able to share with you and serving you, because it's built on trust and service and empathy. And if you like what I shared today, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe to catch more of my videos about how to stand out as a preeminent expert, how to have a powerful, meaningful way to talk about what you do with your message, and then amplify that message to larger audiences for greater income and impact. And where I see a lot of speakers get stuck is not knowing, what emotions is my audience feeling right now? Are they angry? Are they curious? Are they engaged? What is this? Well, I created a video about the 5 emotions that every speaker needs to be able to identify in their audience. So hit play on this next video. I'll see you there.